Hello everyone and welcome back to Rag Plays Aidyn Chronicles, the First Mage. It's the middle of the night in Termimamnor, and let's head back into the inn to make sure that Tamburlaine doesn't have anything else for us now that we've picked up Neeson. Artro, would you stand aside, good sir? You are blocking the way. It's a very bad placement for an NPC. Alright, you. Hello, good squire. Nice to see you again. You've come for a story, haven't you? Well, actually, you have a weary look about you. The road's taken its toll, friend. Alright, so I'm going to quick save here. Do you have any supplies? Of course, I have many a fine item for sale, lad. That just brings us back to the shop page, which we've bought everything from. But I'll have the news before trade. I'm sure you've heard old Tamburlaine can tell a tale, eh? What would you like to hear about? My glorious youth, my inspiring early years, my encounters with the Jundar? Or maybe my fights with the trolls, or magic storm of 901? The Jundar sound like an interesting topic. Ah, an inscrutable lot they are. Why they even have a magic gate to keep people out of their blue realm. I never got past it, never desired to. I was traveling in the mountains to the south when I came across one of their patrols. We handled them pretty good, but more and more kept coming. They were on our left and on our right. We broke through their lines and hightailed it out of there. Let me tell you, those Jundar are deadly archers. They shot me as I retreated, right in the... Well, here, let me show you, the scar. No, that's fine. Shall I tell another? Trolls sound exciting. Yes, trolls are nasty all right. There's a whole new group of them in the hills outside Termimamnor. I once encountered 5, no 6. Sorry, it was 7 of them, trying to cross a bridge to the south. They thought they could take my gold, but all they got was cold hard steel that day, my friend. What else can I tell you? What about this magic storm you speak of? Ah, yes, it was back in 901. A great disturbance of magical energy nearly destroyed us all, it did. Strange colored lightning, winds from out of nowhere, shimmering, shadowy figures. Sounds terrifying. It was. We managed to get the children to safety, and we were on our way to stop the madman when... Madman? Majo. Completely off his rocker, he was. He nearly destroyed the city. But what does madness have to do with... If you ask me, he got off lucky. I don't care if he was sick or not. It was he who caused the whole sorceress mess. How do you mean? Well, squire, how did the mad do anything? They say his wrongness gave him great magical power, but slowly drove him mad. If you ask me, sparing his life was better than he deserved. If he hadn't been stopped, he could have killed us all. How was he stopped? How should I know? Do you know where I could find this Majo? The mad sorcerer? Why would you want to find him? The man's crazy as a loon. Then you know where he is. I do, and I know his story. The story is what interests me. Why, the story is nothing to tell. Besides, Majo is in no shape to tell it. He hasn't spoken since the disaster. I'd still like to get a look at the man. Well, they have him locked up in a house near the castle. Just ask at the door. You'll be taken to Majo. Thanks, I will. But don't turn your back on him, eh? Alright. I guess I can't talk now. As you wish, squire. Please come again. That takes care of Tamburlaine. I'm going to make sure there's nobody else in the back rooms over here, and then we're going to go about our business in Termimamnor. In between episodes, I figured out how to get the item I'm after and how to find the woman who is usually by the well. And it was not easy for me to do so. It required a lot of testing, and I'm glad I did it because I have since wrote a post on the forums that I frequent for Aidyn, and I shouldn't ever have problems doing this again if I ever come back into this game. I'm bound to forget again. It's going to happen, but I'll have a way to remember, which is good. Also, coming to the realization that I did with the Warfang, a fan a viewer, I should say, I suppose, helped me out here and filled in the missing piece that I required in my head that I was translating when I found the Chaos Sword. I realized that magic on it was listed as poison, or poison was listed as magic on the Chaos Sword. Likewise, tap stamina is listed as magic here, so he helped me fill the blanks of these two. That tap stamina on this, since we can't actually cast the spell via a menu or anything, is it's applied passively. It's whenever I attack with this weapon, it casts tap stamina. I don't know what level of tap stamina. It mustn't be very much because I don't notice it, but effectively this gives me free HP every time I hit with it, which is cool. Not direct HP, but more like after 50 HP, I guess. I don't know how to word that better, but it gives me more ability to cast spells and have more hit points in general, so that's good. Likewise, I could have swore that used to give resistance to star, but I guess I'm crazy. Likewise, the Boots of Adamant, knowing what I do about the magic on items that it applies passively, these are nowhere near as good as the Boots of Haste that we just bought, and I was smart enough to buy 5 of them because something told me that I've been wrong all these years, that really the Boots of Adamant are not that good, and therefore we should switch to the Boots of Haste on everywhere, the Boots of Speed, I should say. I'm so used to saying Boots of Haste from Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale and those games, but yeah. Magic Haste, I assume everyone just has it at the beginning, which is great. That's so many more turns, better dexterity bonus, a little less protection. I think it's worth it. Definitely worth the trade, I would say. We can get rid of those Boots of Adamant as well. Obviously we have Chaos Shields, that's all fine. Let us go. I would really like a night at the inn, because I can't... Some of these shops are not open in the day, so... And actually, there's only one shop on the entire level of... on this level of Termimamnor, which is lucky. I'm actually going off a guide for this particular section, mainly because I would go inside of every house in Termimamnor if I was playing on my own, but I understand that makes incredibly boring viewing for viewers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to camp out here. And hopefully we don't get jumped by anything. We did not. Pass the marshmallows. And then I'm going to go back inside, now that it's daylight, and go to the shops. But yeah, I would go into all of these houses, but none of them have anything in them. I feel like this is the point in Aidyn where the developers really kind of got lazy in terms of Termimamnor. The city is way bigger than it needs to be. It has way more houses to visit than it needs to. Not many of them are shops. This one is a shop over here. So let's go inside and visit this man. You open for business, sir? I am, but I warn you, if you are here to tell some story about Fiercel, I won't listen. He's been a loyal customer for years now. How are affairs in Termimamnor? Are you trying to get the story of the Black Heart out of me? No, sir, not in this shop, now. Do you wish to make a purchase or learn a skill? So we're getting lots of information from these people. I would like to buy something first and foremost, sir. Let's see what you have. You have a fire flask and a strength potion. And I'm just going to make sure that we have these items. Once again, I went the wrong way. So... Alright, so... Fire flask, strength potion. We have both. Great sword. Yes. Heartseeker bow, of course. Scythe. Scythe. Yes. Amulet of Pork. Pretty much the game's gag item, or cursed item, I suppose you could call it. Endurance -5, Warrior -2, Resist Physical -100. Purely for the novelty, we are buying one of them, because it's a terrible item. The Phantom Cloak, still just as expensive as ever, and still just as crap, I might add. Plate Gauntlets, we have those already. Gemstones, I believe we don't need any more of those. Good, so let's see what you have to train. A Mechanic of 7. Who has Mechanic in here? Luckily, even though we got rid of Abrican, Beacon is more than up to the task, and a Merchant of 7, so nothing in there. Let's get out of here, unless there's something else in the shop. Any more merchants? The answer is nay by the looks of it. Can't even get behind that counter. Alright, let us leave. Got the Amulet of Pork from him, at least. Now let's go up to the second level of Termimamnor. You guards have anything to say? Excuse me, sir. Hail, citizen. What is it that you're guarding exactly? The king treats us well, lad, for all his, eccentricities. I appreciate your thoughts. So this particular guard doesn't even mind the king in Gornia, and he still calls him the king. What about you? Excuse me, sir. Hi there, lad. What is it you're guarding exactly? You look like you want to be a knight. Stick to it, son. That's interesting, I guess. Totally not the question I asked, mind you. And we didn't even have to press A on that door, so that was pretty cool. There's a lot of shops in here, so I think I'm going to check the houses in here because I don't remember which ones are the shops, and I can't be bothered looking down at a guide every 3 seconds. This doesn't appear to be one of them, but these are the houses in Termimamnor. They pretty much look all the same, and they have these big furnaces in front of them, so I'm pretty sure this one is a shop here. But before I go in, I'm going to talk to this man. Hello, sir. Got a minute or two? Wow, nice outfit. You from around here? Have you any advice to a visitor from Termimamnor, or to Termimamnor? I've just returned from the House of Mage. Poor imbecile is a testament to the folly of naming magic. Thank you for your hospitality. You had the same thing to say as everybody else. Let's go in here. I know for a fact that this is a shop, and I can't remember the criteria. Look at all this armor up here. To get the merchant to spawn in here, I'll have to look that part up. Yeah, she's not here right now, so... Alright. So... Again, I think I'm just gonna check every single room that I can. Hey, hang on a minute. You are new. You haven't been here before. You. Hello there, Squire. Share a tale, Squire. I've never even seen this NPC before. I didn't know he was an NPC. Let's quick save and see what he has to tell. Not today, sir. Look at his face. Isn't that terrifying? Grief. Looks like somebody pulled on his nose really hard and all of his features came forward. Not today, sir. I have no tales to tell. Then hear one of mine. Alright, my teachers always taught me to respect a story. What tales do you have? Oh, the yawns I can spin. There's the daunting pirate's leg, the tale of the sunken moon, the chilling shriveled heart, and the sad and sorrowful Junder's wife. How shall I regale you? Alright, I like stories. Story time is always welcome. Let's hear the pirate's leg. A wise choice, Squire. Once there was a pirate who was the terror of the sundering sea. Feared by all that plied the shipping lanes, he was fierce and merciless. And with those he captured, he showed no mercy. One day during an exceptionally daring raid, another sea captain cut off the pirate's leg. No longer able to walk, much less charge his enemies, he fell into a deep depression. And though he had acquired many riches, he still longed for the life of a pirate. Bemoaning his fate, the pirate wished upon a falling star for a new leg. Miraculously, his wish was granted. He received a wooden leg, much like his own, but magic through and through. The The magic leg was even better than he'd hoped, and the pirate resumed his career of plunder. For instance, one morning after a particularly rowdy night of carousing, the pirate found himself safe on his ship, with no memory of how he got there. The magical leg would walk him home safely even if he became unconscious, but soon the leg grew bored. The life of a pirate was exciting, but the leg wanted to travel and see the world, not just the deck of a ship. So, one night, the leg slipped off to explore, taking the pirate with him. The pirate would wake to find himself in distant lands. He would spend all day walking back to his ship, only to be taken away in the night again. The pirate thought of throwing the leg away, but then he could not walk. The pirate wanted to keep his wish. Soon, however, the pirate grew desperate. He was spending all his time walking back from wherever the leg dragged him. The time had come for drastic measures. He decided to cut the leg off. When he finally went to do the deed, however, the leg rebelled. Before the pirate knew what was happening, the leg walked him right over the edge of the ship and into the ocean. The pirate sank and drowned. But the wooden leg floated safely to the surface. How did you know? So it did. The leg floated, and so the pirate learned too late to be careful what he wished for, because unlike shoes, wooden legs have no souls. Right. You look disappointed. Shall I tell you another? Alright. Sure. Tell me of the sunken moon. With pleasure. Long ago a great sorcerer looked up at the night sky and coveted the beautiful moon. He had a great palatial mansion, many fertile lands, and a mountain of gold that reached to the sky. But none of this was enough. Of course not. Instead, the sorcerer thought, "The moon is so beautiful and shines with such delicious light. I will add to my treasures, and all will envy what I possess." Using all his sorcerer's might, he snared the moon in a web and pulled it down to the ground. Once the moon was close to the ground, he realized he had no treasure room big enough to hold it. So he took a portion of his mountain of gold to build one. He constructed this great shrine at the head of a mighty river and placed the moon atop it. The moon was a great shining jewel for all to see, and the sorcerer's many friends were awestruck and envious until the moon began to sink. Shrine and all, it went right down in the mud. In dismay, the sorcerer spent more of his gold to shore up the foundations of the shrine. And though he slowed the sinking for a time, the moon continued to slip away, lower and lower, until it began to block the river. Now the sorcerer's fertile land was dying out, and he spent his gold again. He built a great irrigation system and aqueducts, but the moon sank lower and blocked the river completely. The land became dry and lifeless. Lower sank the moon, even lower. The light it shed began to fade as the moon sank into the ground. The sorcerer spent more gold to build mirrors to reflect the light of the moon to keep it bright. But the moon sank lower and cracked the mirrors, and desperately, the sorcerer sought to spend more gold to hoist the moon back up. But alas, he spent all he had. The mountain of gold had dwindled down to a tiny pile of old copper coins. Finally, the moon sank below the surface and disappeared. Eventually, it fell out the other side and flew back up into the night sky again. The sorcerer was ruined, and his gold lost, his land dried up, and his powers spent. And after all he had done, the moon was right back where it was in the beginning. Why? Strong as he was, the sorcerer had never learned one vital lesson. You can't have everything you see. No, the moon is very heavy. First I thought this was a silly story, but it has a kind of wisdom. It's one of my favorites. How about another? Sure. The Shriveling Heart sounds interesting. Let's see, I think I remember. Long ago, yet not so long ago, there was a great man who split himself in two. Many thought he could do more as two than as one, and envied him. The man became wealthy and strong. His magic was comparable to none, but one day he awoke to find that his other half had slipped away and was gone. The man continued his work, but soon found that he felt no joy in anything he did. Without his soul, he could not truly feel all that he saw, smelled, and touched. Meanwhile, his other half grew wicked and twisted. Unable to see, touch, or smell, his soul grew black and foul, for he had no heart with which to love. The man grew frail and feeble of mind, no longer caring for things of this world. He withdrew into himself, and as he did, began to lose control of his magic. The ghost creature, however, grew powerful and evil. It began calling itself Elishiva. Desiring the power to rule, Elishiva formed for itself a heart made from the brightest ruby. To protect its life, Elishiva placed its essence into the heart. Then he hid it away in an ancient and crumbling tomb in the heart of the wetland. Thus protected, the spirit roamed the night, stealing children and murdering travelers. Every night Elishiva grew stronger and more grim, yet as it did, the ruby grew darker and more shriveled. Soon the people began to fear the night. They would hide away as the evil spirit roamed the streets, slinking from shadow to shadow, moaning and muttering its evil thoughts. And still the ruby heart grew more and more shriveled. Eventually the man went completely mad. He lost all control of his power and destroyed great parts of the city you now walk in. The buildings crumbled and the bricks turned to dust. When the man's power finally faded, Elishiva faded also. The heart shriveled to a tiny blackened stone, and the evil spirit faded away. The wetlands turned to death, the place we now call Darkling Bog. Hidden somewhere in that bog is an ancient cemetery containing the tomb where rests the heart. The shriveled heart still contains great power, they say. But some also say Elishiva lives yet, though none have seen it since the catastrophe. Those who roam the swamp for herbs do not stay when night approaches. They say you can hear the creature's moans still. I have no moral to tell here. This story is younger than the rest, but at the same time older still. But what was Elishiva? Who can say? A spirit? Be wary in Darkling Bog, lest your own heart be shriveled too. Maybe I should find this Elishiva's lair. Hear a story instead. Alright, what about the Jundar's wife? That one was very interesting and very relevant to our interests. This Elishiva's tomb might very well be a dungeon that we may go into in the near future. What about the Jundar's wife, though? Many years ago there was a great and powerful Jundar lord. But though he was the envy of all and gathered more riches and power to him than mortal man can dream of, still he was not content. So this Jundar built a great ship to sail from the lands he had plundered, to find the thing that would silence the echoes in his heart. He brought with him his most trusted advisors, as well as his rather slow-witted Mirari servant. Before they set sail, the Jundar asked his advisors if he should embark on this quest. Surely great treasures lie beyond the sea, they said, and so they embarked. At night he would amuse himself by asking the Mirari if he would find what he sought. You seek everything, said the Mirari, and so you shall sail forever. I seek only the sound of harmony. And so although we Mirari are slaves, we still sing and feel content. The Jundar laughed at the foolish Mirari. That is why you are slaves, he said. You have no ambition. They sailed on. One day a beautiful crow landed on the rail of the ship. She had wings as black and as shiny as obsidian, and eyes like bright jewels. When the Jundar lord approached her, she turned into the most beautiful Jundar maiden he had ever seen. The maiden told him that she could turn flesh into gold, and that if he would marry her, she would every day increase his riches. The Jundar lord eagerly agreed and took her back as his bride. Every day the Jundar's wife made slaves and servants into gold. Soon the palace was filled with golden statues, but there was a cost. At night she turned into a crow form and plucked out a little of his heart. The Mirari servant warned his lord that while his treasure room was full, he himself would soon be empty. In anger, the Jundar lord ordered his wife to turn all the Mirari into gold. But the Mirari did not turn it to gold. The Mirari servant said, "That is not our nature. We are not made of gold." "Why are you not satisfied with the gold you already have?" And he walked off whistling a Mirari walking tune. In a rage, the Jundar Lord demanded his wife find a way to turn the Mirari to gold. "I will have all the gold in the world," he said. The Jundar's wife smiled. "That will cost you more," she said. The Lord agreed, and that night his wife plucked out all but the thinnest shell of his heart. He could not take the strain. His heart burst. The wife snatched him upon her beak and flew away with him over the sea. To this day, the Mirari are still not made of gold. Right you are, Squire. How about another tale? You know, I really can't listen to stories today. As you wish, Squire. That was a lot of information to take in. Let's keep going! A quick save, though, before we do. What do you know about the Darkling Bog? It was once a thriving wetland, but has now sunk into gloom. I speak of it in the tale of the shriveled heart, but that's all. Do you know the wild man of the bog? No, just that he lives there, nothing else. Let's reload that just a sec. What do you know about the Jundar? The Jundar are a noble but dreadful people whose knowledge sometimes outstrips their wisdom. There is little I can tell you save the tale of the Jundar's wife. All stories have merit, all stories have power. The wise man learns from every story he hears. Okay, fantastic.